Well, sometimes in life things are just a mystery. Per Google, a definition of guilty pleasure is defined as such: an activity and or piece of media that if others knew you enjoyed, you might be embarrassed about. These might be books, TV shows, movies, foods, etc. Generally, the guilty pleasure is something viewed as shameful by some people, like trashy novels or overdone rom-coms. For me, it's a car, more specifically a Chrysler Crossfire. But why? Well, welcome back, guys. It's been a while since I've done a traditional just car video. If you follow the channel, I've been doing my garage the last 6-7 weeks. Almost done. I had to film this kind of strategically not to give away a few things behind you. The part 8 will be up next week and you're gonna love it. Alright, on to today's topic. The 2004 to 2008 Chrysler Crossfire. Introduced in 2003 as a 2004 model, it was slated to be a contemporary automotive hit. Similar to what the TT did for Audi, this was going to do to Chrysler. That did not happen. Some would say it was doomed from the beginning, being built on a platform that Mercedes has already jettisoned. If you're not familiar, this was built on the very dated SLK platform. You gotta remember, this was during a time where Chrysler and Mercedes were kind of one and the same, sort of, and a lot of part swapping was involved. But Chrysler didn't want a part swap, they wanted the whole damn frame. They wanted everything. So they got to work creating this guy, the 2001 Crossfire Concept. Awesome looking car. In 2001, I was 17, getting into cars a little bit, and I was just like, man, that thing's freaking rad. And I think that's kind of where it started. So fast forward a couple years to 2003, I want to say this was late summer, probably early fall. I was 19 at the time, still living at home. I grew up in a very humble, low-income streets outside of DC on the Virginia side. Across the way was a nicer development. Huge contrast from how I grew up. In any case, there was a guy in this development that always had hot cars. He was one of the very first ones to have a Dodge Viper first gen in our vicinity, if you will. In any case, during 2003, like I said, early fall, give or take, I saw the Crossfire for the first time exit this development. And I was like, whoa, absolutely loved it. It was the flagship Inferno red color. It had all the little hood grooves you saw on the concept. It had the really cool deep dish wheels, and it almost looked alien to me, out of this world, and I love the damn thing. And I was like, man, this thing is gonna be a hit. A new domestic supercar, if you will. I was wrong. Fast forward to today, geez, 20 years later, I could easily afford a Crossfire. And you can get a nice example, low miles, for about $12,000. And here's the crazy part. I've never sat in one. I've never driven one. I've never known anyone that actually owned one of the things. By today's standards, they're slow. They're not a fast car. Not extremely reliable. You gotta think Mercedes V6. The SRT6 was pretty damn cool, but it only came in an automatic. It's an AMG thing. The interior is sort of tacky, very 90s Mercedes because that's what it was. And I still see these things, not very often, from time to time, maybe once or twice a month, and think the potential this car had. So what went wrong with the Crossfire? Why was it such a failure? I honestly think it stems from an episode of Top Gear, I want to say 2005, where Jeremy Clarkson does a review on one of these guys, totally shits all over it. He pretty much hates it and compares the rear end to look like a dog taking a shit from the rear quarter view. Okay, so he's not exactly wrong, but I can overlook it, and to me, it looks more like a cat about to pounce. At the time, the owners did complain about a very cramped interior space, no spare tire, and a very tricky rear hatch storage, and it was very narrow and kind of odd. Then there was the SRT6, meant to boost sales in the second year, 2005. In case you're not familiar, it had a more tuned suspension. They put a supercharger on that Mercedes V6, but this did almost nothing to boost sales. No one really cared. And again, it only came in an automatic, which kind of sucks. And honestly, I hated the SRT6 wheels. I much preferred the base concave wheels. I don't know why. They didn't look finished to me, the SRT wheels. They weren't bad, they just didn't do anything for me. In total, over 4 years, Chrysler made about 76,000 of these guys, more than twice as much as my beloved Holden GTO from 04 to 06. So in 2004, you saw about 25,000 units being made. In 2005, you saw about 35,000 units being made. 2006 saw about 9,000. 2007 saw about 4,000, and 2008 they pretty much gave up and he had roughly 1,700. And they only made the SRT again in 2005 year, which was very strange. I think there was about 150 that bled over into the 2006 model year. I can't confirm that, but I think that's what happened. Now, to me, it was never a terrible car. I love the way they look, and I still love the way they look. It was, for its time, even now, very stylish, very contemporary, which I love. It was very affordable. It came with a very confident 6-speed from what I've read. No real complaints about the 6-speed gearbox. And again, the power wasn't terrible like people make it out to be. And if you straight pipe these things, just taking the rear muffler off and putting straight pipes, it actually sounds really freaking good. Here's a clip. See what I mean? And also people are putting Hemis in these damn things. Just your basic 5.7 Hemi in this little tiny car. See if I can find a clip, I'll put it right here. How freaking cool is that? If the LS community found out about these little things, and if there was a really easy harness to just swap these things in with a really easy ECU piggyback, these things could be freaking cool with an LS. You imagine like an LS6 in a Crossfire. It would sound amazing, it would handle amazing. I want to say the engine was mounted just behind the front axle, so it had a pretty good 53-47 weight ratio. It's not terrible, but with all that being said, when the wife and I do upgrade our house here in a few years, I wouldn't mind picking one of these things up for almost nothing. I would do it all blacked out, 6-speed of course, upgrade the calipers, something red, and straight pipe it, call it a day, a fun little cruiser. And if you're watching this as a Crossfire owner, be proud of your little Crossfire. I think they're cool. I'm a car guy. I love Corvettes. I own 2 Corvettes, but I love the Crossfire. I said it, there it is. They look cool, they're somewhat rare, and they have a very timeless design. And I think in 20, 30 years, it's gonna look really cool and not quite fit the early 2000s era. It'll look kind of out of place, but it's kind of cool. So I'm curious to know what my Corvette viewers think of this. I'm sure I got a lot of hate for this and just like, what the hell is this guy talking about right now? But feel free to blast me in the comments below. I can take it. Anyways, yeah, I just want to get that off my chest. I love the Chrysler Crossfire. I think it's a fun little car. Never driven one, but I like them. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Just a fun little video I just wanted to make. I'll have my part 8 video up in the garage. I got some really cool stuff you can't see off camera. You're gonna love. I got one more thing coming tomorrow. Hopefully, part 8 will be out by Monday or Tuesday, and then the next week will be part 9, and there'll be a long gap between that and the lift, just logistically. But by then, my garage will be properly set up for filming. And once it's done, when I'm done, when I start filming, it'll look like a proper studio, and I'm really excited. So, all right, guys, go enjoy your weekend. I'm gonna do the same. It's Friday night, and I'll see you guys next week. Mark out.